Alright, so now you're going to create an actual type hierarchy. You're going to have to acknowledge what the type says, and you're going to have to organize the content in the text in order of most important to least important. And so that's going to be kind of a challenge. You are going to be provided with some text. If you want to use your own text, you can, but it has to be kind of similar in quality to the text I provide you, so have kind of the same little bits of information. And then you're going to just use your basic type tools to arrange the text in a visual hierarchy. Your visual hierarchy, though, you're going to create in increments or gradually more organized hierarchies as you go. You're going to make 4 by 4 inch you're going to make 5 4 by 4 inch compositions with the same text in each composition, except as you go, each composition is going to have more and more organization to it, or a more contrasting hierarchy. Right here we have just kind of a really chaotic hierarchy. You can kind of tell what's most important by the fact that it's bolded or its placement, but there's just a ton of stuff to sift through here. Now we have a little bit more organization, but the text is still kind of equal, and it's separated equally. Like the text on top, we don't know if that's more important than the left and right hand corners, since they're all kind of the same size and the same location almost. This one's doing a little bit better. Now we have a much clearer hierarchy. Obviously the big group of text in the left and right hand corner are more important options than this paragraph text in the lower right hand corner. Here there's a pretty clear hierarchy. Our attention goes straight to the middle, and that's because that's the largest and it's dead center in the screen. After that, you can kind of guess what your next option would be, or where your eye would go next. I go at least to these 3 words on the bottom down here, and then I kind of wander around the page. The type that's set the smallest in the upper right hand corner and the lower left hand corner is where I'd go next probably, but this hierarchy is pretty well made. It's pretty high contrast. This is a pretty basic concept. Obviously the bigger your text, the more important it is, and the more eye-catching it is. And then as your text gets smaller, it becomes less and less important. Imagine if you saw a newspaper article that didn't have any text set at all, and it was just this big sea of gray with a picture. You need a big headline to kind of draw your attention and tell you what the article is about. A caption can help clarify what your picture is showing. This kind of hierarchy helps clarify that information. And the reason you want to clarify the text is because that increases the usability of whatever it is you've made. Whether it's a website or a pamphlet or a book, you want to make it easy to use for everybody that could use it or buy it. And as a graphic designer, that's kind of your job. You have to make it easy to use for people and look good while you use it. So if you do that, then you're a better graphic designer for it. Alright, so before I get into some examples of what you need to do for the project, I just have this example here to kind of encourage you to be experimental with how you set your type. This is an example from a designer that is very playful with his placement and his use of non-graphic elements. So just sort of look to this. You don't have to be super tight and professional now. You're in school, so treat it like a chance to play around. Don't feel like you have to make it look like a website or a pamphlet or a book yet. You can do that later when you're making some of the more complex assignments in this unit. Here we have an excellent student example of what's expected of you here for this project. You don't have to do 6 compositions, you just have to do 5, but they've taken the text and they've increased the organization, the visual hierarchy, contrast as they go. In these first couple examples here, obviously there's no difference in size, it's just placement. Swiss Modernism is at the top. That's the title, so that's the most important. As they go, though, they make the title bold and bigger. They change its location. They use contrast between white and black, and they use non-graphic elements. A non-graphic element is something like a shape or a line that kind of helps sort or organize your text. You can use non-graphic elements if you want. Just don't use photographs or anything recognizable. Just kind of stick to the text. This also is a great example of what you can play around with. You know, sometimes a hierarchy means that you don't have to place the most important part at the top. You can put it at the bottom, so long as it's large enough to capture your attention first. These examples I'm not going to comment on that follow this one, but stick around for the end and I'll kind of go over what you can do if you don't want to use the content that I provide. Alright, so hopefully you have a good idea of kind of what you need to do for this project. There will be no demonstration. You're just sort of setting type in your 5 compositions, and you got to increase the contrast in your hierarchy. It's pretty straightforward. If you get stuck, ask me for help or ask your peers to see if you are creating enough organization in your compositions. Here is the text that I provided for you to use in your compositions. This should be in the project folder. If you don't want to use this text, you have to find information that's similar in quality to this text. So you have to find text that includes a who, what, when, and where, short description, and some kind of details about the program or whatever is being provided, whatever concert it is or what have you, and then some contact information if you want more info. And the way this text is organized right now, it's organized in order of most important to least important. So you know, at the top where it says Muti conducts Verdi and Brahms, that's the most important piece of information. That's the name of the concert. So you probably want to make that the top of your hierarchy for each composition. Yeah, that's all you really need to know. If you're having trouble, again, please ask me for help. This is a pretty straightforward project.